The M1 Garand is an iconic battle rifle which saw service in both World War II and Korea as the standard issue rifle. It was adopted by the US military in 1936 and has many features that made it stand out from other weapons at the time. Today we will be learning the procedure to field strip and reassemble this iconic American rifle. You will need a solid surface to work on. You will also need a punch and a flathead screwdriver. Before you begin disassembly, you must ensure the rifle is unloaded. To do this, rack the bolt and check if the chamber is empty. Now that we have verified that the gun is empty, we can begin disassembly. Flip the rifle upside down. The trigger guard on the M1 acts as a latch that keeps the whole rifle together. Pull back and lift on the trigger guard to release this latch. You may need a tool like a small rod or dowel to get the proper leverage. Once the latch is released, pull the trigger assembly out of the stock and store it out of the way. Remove the receiver group from the stock. Now we can remove the spring and follower rod. To do this, take the forked end of the follower rod and pull it forward to unhook it from the receiver. Use caution when doing so, as the part is under spring tension and will want to move when released. Place the spring and follower rod out of the way to await reassembly. Remove the follower arm pin from the left side of the receiver. It is helpful to use a small tool like a punch to remove the pin. Now that the pin is removed, remove the bullet guide, follower arm, and operating rod catch. Now we can lift the magazine slide and follower out of the magazine well. Now flip the rifle over to remove the op rod. To do this, pull it back until its guide lug matches up with the disassembly notch in the receiver. Once it is no longer connected to the receiver, we can pull the rod out and set it aside. To remove the bolt, pull the bolt forward and then lift it up and to the right, while rotating it slightly. This can be tricky and may take a while to get the perfect angle. To remove the gas cylinder, start by unscrewing the gas plug with a flathead screwdriver. Now that the gas plug is removed, we can unscrew the gas cylinder lock. Then we can slide the gas cylinder off the front of the rifle. Now that the gas cylinder is removed, we can remove the front handguard from the barrel. Now your rifle is field stripped and ready to be cleaned. Now we will go through the reassembly of the rifle. Slide the front handguard onto the barrel, then slide on the gas cylinder. Now we can screw on the gas cylinder lock. Now screw in the gas plug. Now we can insert the bolt into the top of the receiver. It will go in at the same angle it came out. Once the bolt is in the receiver, push it back to the rearmost position. Install the op rod by placing the front end into the gas cylinder, then line up the retaining lug with the receiver and guide it into the track. When it's in position, the bolt should be able to slide freely with the op rod. Place the op rod catch into the receiver. It is important to make sure the hook at the rear goes under the tab of the clip latch. Install the bullet guide. Make sure the protrusion at the bottom hooks into the op rod latch and the top portion slides into the cutouts on the receiver. Insert the follower into the magazine well. Make sure it is facing down and that the larger end is pointing towards the muzzle. Before we let it drop, we need to insert the follower arm through the bullet guide and into the front of the follower. Insert the follower arm pin. Make sure all the parts are lined up so the pin will hold everything together. Install the op rod spring and follower arm by inserting the spring into the opening of the op rod and compress the assembly until the hook at the rear can be connected to the follower rod. You will have to raise the follower slightly to get the parts to match up. Reinstall the stock. Do so by seating the front of the stock first, then easing the action into the rear of the stock. Take the trigger group and line the groove in the receiver with the corresponding groove on the trigger assembly. Gently slide the trigger group down into the receiver. Once the trigger group is in the receiver, the last step will be to press down on the trigger group until it latches. Now the gun is fully assembled. Cycle the action and make sure the safety is functioning properly. If everything is moving smoothly, then the job is done. You now know how to field strip and reassemble your M1 Garand. Thank you for watching, stay safe, and have fun.